Hello, 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 and welcome to another gameplay day or not beta test playthrough. But if you are so inclined, do check out my beta test videos. I try to post one a week where I just test games. I just play like a half an hour to an hour, test it out, give my opinion of it, and yeah. Anyways, this actually is a gameplay day wild card deck building video for Ragna. This is a basic guide and tips. You do not have to follow anything I say in this, and there is a possibility that some of the things I say in this will be completely wrong because, well, this game is still in development. Things are still being learned. Play styles are being learned. Tweaking of characters and their abilities and how they work, all that stuff's going to continue to happen. It happens with the monsters, it happens with the characters, it happens with the fields. It's just a part of the process. So don't take everything I say as being completely correct 5 years from when this video was made. It's not going to be correct, but it will hopefully at least give you some general ideas. I'm sure a lot of the stuff will still be predominantly accurate in what I'm saying, so take it for what it is. But today we're going to do Ragna. I should have brought this screen up with Balgar as well, but oh well. We're going to take a look at Ragna, and then we're going to talk about her abilities, the cards that we're going to pick, and the wild cards that we're going to pick. When I do this build, I am going to do it more themed to Regna and fire. So you're going to see a lot of fire characters and combinations with them. But yeah, let's get into Ragna. Ragna is she's one of the two primary attack characters that are currently in the game, and she does big sustain damage. Locke does big quick damage. Hers is more over time. So she is great for thinning out the herd as the battle is going along. She'll ramp up the flames, turn up the heat while she's playing because she is constantly pushing in. She is predominantly a aggressive character, so you want to push in, you want to attack, you want to use your abilities in attacking and your monsters in attacking. Whereas like Bulgard focuses more on defense, so he's staying more in the back line, holding everything together so that nothing can break through, where she is doing the breaking through. So just to give you a breakdown of her dash. She dashes forward and she leaves a trail of fire. When you hit the fire, you get damage. So your dash effectively does damage, unlike other characters that don't have any effects on their dash. I know that Locke has a time dilation ability on his dash, and you have to be kind of good to get it right. But hers is damage, whereas his is time dilation. So when you dash through monsters, or you dash through players, or you're dashing at the goalie, through the goalie, or at the core, you have that area damage that's going behind you, so you can do a lot of damage without actually having to attack. Her one ability for jumping is a fire kick. So in order to do this, you have to first jump, and then when you are in the air, or even use a jet stream to get in there, or the air jet monster to get into there. Once you are in the air, you can then do a diving kick that also has fire damage applied to it. So when you do your dive kick, you will land on the ground. While you're in on the air and hitting the ground, you ignite everyone that you're coming in contact with. And then when you actually impact the ground, it pushes everything slightly. It's just a small impact, knockback, but it's still there, and you take damage. So you come in, and you're doing fire damage and impact damage. Getting into her sidekick, he has two abilities, an active and a passive. His active, when you activate it, you empower Regna and all the teammates on the field. So they get extra base damage. They're a little bit more powerful. So it's great for when you're going on the offensive right as you're going into the offensive, or if you need a little extra pep in your step while defending. This is a great way to get that. Her passive is Firepool, and what that does is Singe has an ongoing pool of fire, igniting opponents around Ragna. So just by being around Ragna, closely around Ragna, in that personal distance where you got the fisticuffs going 1 2 1 2. Also, Singe is going to be doing igniting damage, so it's going to set things on fire. That's going to cause fire damage over time. So just being close to your target, it creates additional damage effects that you're applying to that character. So it's really good to get up close and personal with the character, as opposed to being a more defensive or removed character or playstyle. You want to get up in there. You want to say hello. You want to lock eyes. You want to be able to see the whites of their eyes and really just bring the heat. Her ultimate is a flash fire. It just burns everything in an area around her. She takes a stance, and everything around her begins to burn. What this means is everything around her starts to get fire damage. They're ignited. They've been ignited and set on fire, so now they have fire damage. So they have the initial burst of damage from being ignited, and then they have the continual damage from being on fire. So it's a damage over time effect with a good initial hit of damage. It's really good for when you are surrounded by a bunch of monsters, or the enemy players are close by, even if there are no monsters. This will give you the chance to be able to ignite them on fire, doing damage to both of them at the same time, with a good initial damage and tapering damage after the fact. So it's really good for engaging. You can jump into the fray and just set everything on fire, start even more damage. Let's say there are some monsters fighting in the center on the top lane, and they're just duking it out. The enemy teammates are close and they're providing more monsters. They're throwing more monsters in. What you can do is you can dash closer if you need to, but you don't have to. You can save that for later. But you can jump into the air, fire kick into the group, or like right next to the group. They all get turned on. They all get put on fire, and you have that impact damage. Then what you can do is you can empower yourself using Singe, so you get extra damage. You get those fire claws. You're doing the damage. You can go in there, start just cutting everyone, setting everything on fire in your path, and then you can just dash even through the monsters into their backline, get to the characters. If you can get to them and you get close enough, you're igniting them on fire. You're putting on the heat. You're putting on the pressure. You're tagging everything. You're just going through, setting everything on fire, leaving in your wake fire and ash as you blaze through everything in your path. And so it just builds up over time doing that. With your ultimate charge, what you want to do, and this ties into all of your abilities and that combo I just mentioned, is every point of fire damage dealt by Ragna charges her ultimate. So you're going to want to be in close. You're going to want to be doing that damage. You're wanting that fire damage to happen, and that'll charge up your ult. So you can dash into a group of enemies, pop your Singe, and then start plugging away fighting, or you can even jump up and aim and do a pounding kick, and you've set them on fire several times. You're doing continual fire damage. You're charging up your ultimate. Let's say your ultimate was at 50%. Now it's up to 75% as you just killed a group of monsters. Now you're running after the two enemies. You get in a couple hits on one of them, so you get up to 80%. 10%. They throw out a couple monsters. You have your Singe again, and you can start doing more fire damage. All of a sudden, boop! You have your ultimate. One of the teammates is down to 20% health. The other one is close by, but he's at like 75% health. You happen to get within range of both of them at the same time, maybe jumping in between them, what have you. Pop your ultimate, boom! Fire damage. The enemy teammate who had like 20 health, now he's at 5 health. He was able to back out, so he's not near you. You can't really chase him. He used his dash and got out, but he's on fire now. That fire is going to take that last 5% of health off of him, and he's going to die. You don't even have to be there for the finishing blow. You can leave the limping carcass just limp off to die on its own, smoldering off in the corner. You can focus on the other one who's got 75 health, and then you can start to go after him. Jump up in the air. Hopefully your fire kick cooldown is done. You can use that to close the distance. It's an air dash in a sense, because you can dash, jump up in the air, fire kick, which will push you farther down faster, but it'll also go at an angle, so you're going out farther. So you get like 2 dashes, a 1.5 dash right there. You're able to close in this distance, and you start attacking again, and you're just setting them on fire, pulling up a charge. By the time you kill him, you're already back at 30% charge on your ultimate. You took out 2 teammates, and you were able to push through the lane. That's a pretty good deal. So that's a combo you can do. Okay, so now on to the deck building, since I've gone through like 5 scenarios. Let's see here. We're going to go through their abilities, and we're going to talk about using their abilities. There is one thing that isn't mentioned, but I believe is in the game, or it was at least talked about in the game, is that Singe's passive and active ability apply to the monsters. I believe that is in effect. I just can't remember, so don't take my word for it. If it's not in effect right now and it comes into effect, this deck is going to be extra nasty. It's going to do just it's going to become a flash fire. It's just going to keep feeding itself over and over. So I think it's already in the game, and that's why, like, when I do play Regna, I'm just doing a lot of damage while I have to back up to prolong the match. So I believe it is in the game. I honestly can't remember off the top of my head. But we're going to go into these abilities. We have Slow Burn. Slow Burn is where Singe's duration, the effect duration, that is increased. So there's going to be a longer period where you're empowered. There's going to be, which is going to just like help all of your abilities. All of your attacks are going to be of a higher damage amount over a greater amount of time, so you're doing more damage over time. So it is one that I recommend, especially when one actually using these. And since it does affect Singe's effects, duration of Singe's effects while active. The way that's worded, that means it should also increase the duration of being on fire, being ignited, being burned, having that fire damage applied to you. So that's damage over time. If you like hearing about that combo where you do the dash, the jump, and the fire kick down, Hotfoot is a really good pick for you. With Hotfoot, you gain increased movement speed for a duration after activating a special ability. So after doing your dash, it's not really a special ability, but it's kind of a special ability. You get a little bit of increased movement speed, I believe, for the dash. If it doesn't apply to the dash, it still applies to your fire kick. So you can jump up in the air and kick down, and that'll give you like half a dash distance. And then you have increased movement speed to make up for that shorter distance on that dash. And then you'll be able to catch up to people. You'll also be able to get out. I personally have done it where I have been on the top center lane, the first lane, jumped off the side to the air jets using a dash, like a jump and dash, and then get shot up by the air jets, and then am able to turn around, come back, and do a fire kick into the enemy monsters. It's a way for me to disengage and then be able to re-engage. And then I'm able to run back out after I've done my damage. So I wanted to do the specific thing I'm thinking of. I wanted to do a little extra damage, so I like went in there and then just ran out. So it is a good pick. I recommend it. It really depends on how well you can use the fire kick. I've seen a lot of people not use the fire kick, and from what I've heard from other people and what I've seen, it looks like people just don't fully understand it. So to explain it again, you have to first be up in the air before you can use it. You can't use it while your feet are touching the ground. It just doesn't work that way. I believe you can't even be like right next to the ground. You have to be a little bit off of the ground to actually get it to start up, but you don't have to go the full jump distance. But it's great for getting out or even getting in when using hot foot. Flare up is really good. It's kind of a doubling effect because you gain enrage after activating special ability. So when you use Singe, then you're getting enraged from Singe. You're also getting enraged from Flare Up. And then when you're using your ultimate, you're also getting enraged on top of your ignition and flame damage. So it's a really good pick. Undying Ember. This one is really good in my opinion as well, because it means that you can use Singe more often. You can keep on attacking over and over and over, doing more damage as you're going along. So that's a really great pick. Recapture Heat. I haven't tried this one, but the final basic attack on a monster or player will give you heal. That'll help you with sustainability. I have still yet to try it because it is new, but I'm interested in it. And I think that'd be really good for when you're facing off against small monsters. That'd be a really good way to keep your sustainability and health up. So I definitely recommend that. Flash Flare. This one is a great one. When you're activating Singe, instead of just enraging, it'll ignite everyone on the field. All of the enemy players will get ignited. They'll start to get burn damage. That is wide range AoE damage. It's not a lot of damage, but it is AoE area damage. So you're able to engage more. You're able to use Singe more to actually do more fire damage. You're having that fire damage just build up. The flames are heating up. They're building up. The damage just keeps going up because fire just keeps coming in waves and it's taking down your enemies' health and all of that stuff. So Flash Fire is really good. Flames of Renewal is actually really good, and I would personally pick it over over Flare Up. Flames of Renewal. Activating Singe heals Regna and your teammates. So that's going to play even higher into your survivability. Let's say you jumped into the fray, you've used all of your mana, you've used your abilities, everyone's on fire. You only have like you still have Singe, but you've used your fire kick, you've used your dash, you've used all of your monsters and your mana. You don't have your ultimate right now. You're at like 20% health. Your teammates at like 50% health. The other team's at like 30 and 70% health. They've got a couple monsters out on the field. With Flames of Renewal and Flash Fire, when you activate Singe, then you're doing you're just doing damage to the enemy opponents, so you've got that covered. You're doing active damage to them, but in addition to that, then you're healing yourself and you're healing your teammates. Like it's a wombo combo. You're dishing out the heat, but you're filling up your teammates with fuel to keep on going. I know I'm making a bunch of fire puns. Don't judge me. Um, but yeah, so you're gonna help your team survive longer while also doing damage. So um, combining these champion cards have unique combinations. So when you're playing Ragna or any of the other characters, look at all of the ability cards and don't just look at what their description is. Look at what can they be comboed with, what can they be have synergy with, what can they enhance the other parts of your monsters or your champion or your abilities. um, Also think about how your player style works when doing these things. So these two together, I think, are really good. And then this on top of that, just keeping everything going even longer. Like, yeah. But yeah, so then the last one that they have right now is Stoke the Flames. Singe empowers for more damage when activated. So let's say you don't necessarily need the effects to be longer, you want them stronger. This won't necessarily make the healing stronger, but it will cause your damage to be more. So when you're in the fray, you are doing more damage over time. You're doing bigger hits for each hit, so you've got your fire damage going, and you're doing bigger hits, so you can really just burn everything down. But as far as the champion cards, in my personal opinion, I'm going to say Slow Burn's really good. We're going to take out Stoke the Flames. As far as wild cards go, I'm going to do a little bit of a fire build because we're digging our heels into this fire. We're keeping this flame lit. We're burning strong. Doing the worst jokes in the world, and I'm loving every moment of it. So if you enjoy it, kudos to you. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. That sucks for you. But we're gonna heat this up with some more fire jokes as we go along, just burning through all of the cards. I love being stupid. It's so much fun. Not real stupid, pretend stupid. Please don't ever be real stupid. Always question things. Just don't go with the flow. Okay, now onto cards. Lava Drop. Lava Drop does AoE area denial damage over an area. It's also fire damage, so it's continual damage. It's continual damage on top of your already continual damage with your abilities and attacking. So this is really good, and it keeps the heat up. It really keeps the flame going as you're burning down the enemy players' health. By the way, all these fire jokes and puns and everything are just off the tip of the tongue. Uh, I don't know what to tell you. I'm heating up. All right, on to the next one. I would say use Trailblazer. Trailblazer is really good for a couple reasons. First one being it's fire. Kind of have that part covered. Second reason, they are a ranged fire attack, so they're not going to be in the cluster when you're summoning out a bunch of monsters. They're going to stay in your mid to back line, shooting out fire damage. So that's really good for sustainability and by having a backline doing fire damage. The better part about Tailblazer is that he ignites his opponents. So not only are they doing fire damage, they're igniting the opponent, causing them to be on fire and have continual fire damage. So it's just like Regna. It's got initial damage and then it's got tapering damage. So it's really good to help build up attacks and continuous damage going along. Another one for your mid to low card values is the Blitz Boys. With the Blitz Boys, when they attack, they actually ignite. So You have your close range. They will charge in, and when they attack, they will ignite the opponent. So you have them in the front line. You also have Lava Drop in the front line doing AoE damage, but let's say they're not in this scenario. You have the Blitz Boys charging up front. You have Tailblazer in the back shooting offline. So Blitz Boys are igniting them by attacking, and they're applying fire damage. Tailblazer comes in from range where he's not getting hit because he's out of the attack area. He goes in and also does the ignite attack. So if for some reason your Blitz Boys get knocked out and they can't ignite anymore, you still have Tailblazer igniting them, still catching them on the fire, still having to deal with that continuous damage. So that's a really good pick. I will say I would put Ribbit in your deck. He's not really fire, but I do want to say he's a great non-fire one because you can throw Ribbit at opponents' feet, and when Ribbit attacks, he time dilates them, so he slows them. So that'll give you the opportunity to do 2, 3, maybe 4 hits before even your opponent's able to get off a hit. So he's really versatile and he's really good. I do mention him in the basic deck build. I would recommend him. He's really, really good. And but we're not going to have him in this deck. I still recommend him in this deck. Oops. I would also recommend Spode, but again, we're not going to do him. We're kind of going with a fire theme. So next I would pick Heartburn. Heartburn is an adorable dragon. He does attack from range. He does not ignite, but he does good damage. His fireballs are slow moving, but they do good damage. So he's a good addition. He's a good ranged, non-setting everything on fire as he goes along. Attacker. Maybe in the future he sets them on fire. I don't know, but right now he doesn't, as far as I know. But he's still a good pick. Pyrokeet is actually a better pick to have. With Pyrokeet, it is a ranged monster who does have kind of low health, but the real benefit to them is that when you knock out Parakeet, they don't just disappear from the field. They'll turn into an egg, and that egg has a timer. When the timer reaches 0, Parakeet comes back full health, ready to go again. Something I have seen a lot in matches is probably because people aren't used to him or her yet, is that they'll just ignore the egg. They'll think that they have knocked out Parakeet. They're no longer in the match, but the egg is still there. And if you do not destroy the egg, they will come back, and they will come back for a vengeance again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, until you destroy that egg. I could go on saying it again like 15 more times, but you get the point. So she's good for attacking, but not like heavy attack, more of light continuous attack. It's a slow burn is the way to put it for her. She's slowly burning across. So it's a weak flame and it gets put out a lot, but it's one of those sturdy flames that just like puffs back up. You blew out the flame, but the coal inside the log is still there, and if you give it a little time, the flame pops back up. That's Parakeet, or Pyrokeet. So she's a really good pick. I would also say DFA. DFA is going to help you immensely in your offensive abilities. It can be used defensively, but it is predominantly offense. What you want to do with DFA is you want to have them land on the character or the monster that you are attacking. When they land on the character or monster that you are attacking, they will do a massive amount of damage. They can easily one-shot 1 and 2 mana monsters. They can take them down very easily in one attack. I have personally seen them be used against players and as essentially one-shot people. So great addition in being an aggressive Ragna. For example, let's say you were just in a big fight, you just defended your core, one of the enemy teammates is down, and your teammate is focusing on the last monster that's near the core. You're going to focus on the surviving enemy teammate who was a lock and was able to run out a little bit before using a dash to get away farther. Let's say you won't be able to catch up in just a dash, and you feel like you're not gonna be able to catch up to them or to be able to physically attack them. What you can do is you can use your fire dash to get close, jump a little bit, use your fire kick down to get a little bit closer, take out your DFA and throw it where they are going to be when the card lands. You're probably going to knock that person out. They're probably going to lose all of their health. I've seen it happen. I have had it happen to me. I believe that you can do it too, and I believe that it will happen to you. So I would recommend, if you are an aggressive player, get DFA. They are great at surprise damage. Because they are quick to summon, you can quickly throw them out. They quickly appear once they hit the ground. They do damage, so you can take a player character from, let's say, 70% health down to like 40% health, 50% health. I've seen around 40% health one shots with DFA. DFA can be the bane of your existence, or you can use them to be the bane of your enemy team's existence. So I recommend DFA. It's a great pick. Does high damage on initial summon. After that, in my opinion, it's useless after the initial summon. If the blade does not get destroyed, the imp top gets stuck. Outside that, when the blade is destroyed, the imp will come down, do a little bit of damage. Nothing crazy, but still. Really good for range damage and surprise damage, so I recommend that. As far as like closing the distance and doing damage, another card I recommend is Burnout. Burnout is a molten metal slug snake. I'm gonna say snake because of the teeth. Molten metal snake, and what they do is that when you summon them, they will sprint forward, and when they sprint forward, they will leave a trail of lava behind. So it's kind of like Lava Drop's AoE area, but it's just a small straight line. Nevertheless, when you summon it into a group of enemy monsters, when he hits the ground, he will sprint through the monsters, meaning the ground under the monsters will then become a strip of lava. So they will start to get fire damage. So you can do fire damage from a distance. Let's say, for example, you're doing a push. They've got an Infernus or a Jans or a Golret out, plus a couple smaller monsters, and you're a bit of a distance away, but you have your dash ready. You just want to save it for when you actually get up in there to do some damage. You're running up, you get close, you can throw out Burnout ahead of you, and you can throw them just before like the monster group, or right in the center of the monster group, or at an angle to the side, whatever you want to do to get a strip of fire damage, continuous fire damage over time applied to the ground, and then they'll start to get that fire damage on them before you even get there. Then you can start running up, you can jump, dash, kick in, doing fire damage on them, plus a little bit of pushback, and then you can dash to create another area of fire on the ground. If you happen to have your lava drop, you can also throw that sucker down. Then you have this big area just all on fire on the ground. All the monsters that are in the area on the enemy team, they're now on fire. They're all taking continuous damage. If you have Singe's slow burn effect, is it slow burn? Yeah. Then they're getting fire for even longer on the ground because the duration of the empowered fire damage, the passive, it means that it's gonna be it's gonna be longer. I believe that's how it works. I could be wrong, but either way, you're applying fire damage to an area. You still have your dash to apply fire damage to an area. You still have the close proximity igniting fire damage from Singe, as well as empowering yourself with extra fire damage. So you're doing fire upon fire upon fire, and you're just building up the flames. You're building up the heat. So I recommend Burnout. I mean, that is a situation that you can really use for Burnout. Another recommendation I give is Wreck It. Wreck It does not have fire damage. The only close thing to fire is the color. He's red. Outside of that, he has a good amount of health, he has a good amount of mobility, and he has a decent amount of damage. He'll be able to take a couple hits before the mecha is destroyed. Once the mecha is destroyed, you still have an imp, or a punk that pops out. So you're only losing the armor. You're not actually losing the monster yet, so you have a second round to go with them. Granted, they won't be as powerful, but it's still an extra hit or an extra hit taken before they focus on you. So it's good in my opinion. I would also say you want to get Megalisk. Megalisk is good for damage, specific damage, we'll say. The way I've seen him used and the way that I think probably is the best way to use them is to keep them at your side. So let's say you have an enemy player, he just threw down some cacticue. You can run over, jump fire kick the cacticue, taking out like majority of their health, if not all of it. You could even just like do all the damage and throw down Megalisk, because the player's now by themselves, or maybe they threw out a bigger monster too. With Megalisk, he's got high mobility, so he's going to run towards the closest monster, player, goalie, what have you, the closest adversary. You can also focus that closest adversary. Magnus ignites with his attacks. So anytime he attacks, you're setting things on fire. Anytime with Singe, you are close. You are setting things on fire. You are both constantly setting things on fire as you're attacking. Just over and over and over. Deeper and deeper. Hotter and hotter. And with his high mobility, he'll be able to keep up for the most part with your basic running speed. Or you can throw him out ahead and he can ignite, and you can like and that allow you time to get to the target as well, so that you can then ignite. So it's extra damage over time, but I would say keep him close to you and make sure that you know what he's going to attack before you throw him out, because by himself, he can take like 2-3 hits, but his damage isn't high enough to really be a solo monster. I feel like he's a player complement monster. It's one of those monsters you want to keep next to you when you use that monster, because of the way that they work. It really complements your character, your playstyle, your ability, what have you. I feel like he's really good for that in like a second source of quick damage. He's going to run in there with you because he does have that high mobility. He does have some defense, so he's going to be able to take like 2, 3, maybe 4 hits. Really depends on the monster and the type of hit, what have you. He's not going to do a lot of damage, but he's going to ignite when he attacks, and that means prolong extra damage over time. So I recommend getting him as well. As far as a big card number, I'm gonna say Infernus. He's my big daddy. I love him. He does AoE damage. He does fire damage. He attacks from a range. He ignites. He is Ragna as a monster, essentially. He has a high health pool, so he's great for offensive and defensive abilities. He's going to be igniting and setting monsters and players on fire, furthering that sustained fire damage that's continuously happening during your assault or your defense. You're continuously burning away at the enemy's health, slowly dwindling them down to ash. So I recommend Infernus because on summon he does create a lava pool just like Lava Drop. And then with his attacks he can do physical attacks or a flaming attack, and he ignites on fire. He does, like with his flame attack, he breathes fire in like a cone area. He sweeps across, uh, burning the field of all of its impurities. So he's a really good pick for that. Um, if you feel like Heartburn is not that good, or one of the other characters just doesn't fit with your playstyle, a a recommendation would be Volcab. Volcab is a he's like a fire version of Cacti King. He's not quite as good as Spord or Assembler when it comes to producing units, but he still produces units, and they're fire based. So what happens is, much like Sport, they will walk down the lane. They will spew out fire drops. So instead of the little spode boys, I don't know why I call them spodes. They're my little spore boys, but I like calling them spodes. As spode to as a spode as a suppose as supposed. I can't even say the word. As opposed, there we go. As opposed to Big Daddy Spord, you take out the R because the little guys aren't reproductive, so they're only little spodes. They're not sports. But anyways, he's like that, but with lava drops. So he will spit out lava drops ahead of him as he's advancing down the lane, and those lava drops have the lava drop AoE damage. So they can end up creating, on advancing lanes, area of denial to the enemy's defenses. They can also offensively create areas of damage to deal with the defensive monsters that are keeping Volcab from pushing forward. So he's a really good pick. He's not my primary pick when picking cards, but as far as a themed one that goes along with Ragna and has good utility, I think he's a solid pick. I just do want to point out that he is 6 mana, so you have to be careful with how much mana you're saving up and how much mana you're using, because that can deplete all of your mana and you won't have anything to be able to summon for a bit. He's a great slow build up of damage. He's a slow burn. He slowly builds up the fire as he goes across by adding more lava drops as he continues to advance. So he's not that great at defense per se, but there is a way to use him effectively for defense. What you want to do is, let's say your core is exposed, you have a cluster of enemy monsters in front of your core, they're just getting there to attack. You can throw Volcab immediately into the fray. You are sacrificing Volcab in this. It's not a good play per se, but it is an effective play. So you summon Volcab into the center, all the monsters like, oh, hello, sir, and they start attacking him because he's closer to the monsters than the core. While that's happening, giving Volcab a couple seconds to wake up, be like, oh my gosh, I'm being attacked. He'll be able to throw out a lava drop. Maybe he'll be able to get out 2. If he's lucky, that's awesome. But he should be able to get out 1, and then instantly AoE area denial fire damage. If you happen to have a fire drop in your deck while he pops out a fire drop, he can throw out his fire drop. You can see where that area of denial circle is, and then you can take your lava drop, and if there's a monster a little bit outside that area, you can plop it over there, instantly create a bigger fire field, a bigger area of denial, so that the monsters can't attack your core. You can also use it offensively because he is the lava drops are advancing without activating. The second they come in contact with the enemy player or monster, they will activate. Creates an area of denial. If there's multiple of them running down the lane, and let's say it's against an enemy player, they're going to hit that first lava drop, it's going to set off, and it's going to create an area of denial on the lane, but the player still advancing winds up hitting the second lava drop. There's a whole second field of fire on the ground, so that's two areas back to back, a large stretch. If Volcab could have gotten off that third one, boom, a third fire lava drop fire area on the ground. That's three large. If you were able to get that off on your top lane, you could essentially cut off your entire top lane. Though he, in my opinion, will be more effective on the bottom lane because there is a greater distance. He'll be able to summon more lava drops. If they're able to get to the core, you can have three lava drops back to back to back, just creating a centralized area of denial. Three lava drops, three fields of lava, straight in the same place. I don't believe they multiply, but I believe that you do get that base attack point. So you're getting base attack, base attack, base attack, as opposed to base attack, base attack, base attack. So it'd be a little bit quicker, maybe. I don't know. But it's great for area of denial. So I recommend Volcab a lot. Yeah, you won't have any healing with this deck because there are no healers in it. This is purely offensive. So just be wary of that. That's why I would recommend having Flames of Renewal. That way you have some health. If you're not too worried about the duration, maybe you do Recapture Heat and Flames of Renewal. Every time you last hit a monster, and every time you use your ability, you're healing, you're keeping yourself alive. So you could do that. In addition, while that's happening, you have 1, 2, 3, 3.5, 4, 5, 6 monsters all igniting, setting things on fire, adding extra damage on top of the base damage. You also have 1, 2. You have 2 ranged. Oh yeah, because I took out Heartburn. You have 2 ranged, 2.5 ranged right there. You have heavy damage here, pretty good damage here, heavy damage here. You have closing the gap characters because they will advance. Even Blitz Boys, they blitz forward. So you have 3 characters that can close the gap with you. So you can throw them down as you're dashing to help you in fighting. You have 1, 1.5, 2, 3 area of denial damage characters. So they create areas of denial, AoE damage, that kind of stuff. So you have multiple options within your deck. You have denial of area. You have high damage, especially with DFA and Infernus. You have damage over time. You have sustained damage over time. You have monsters that will try to come back. You have monsters that will be high mobility and be able to advance with you. So you have a lot of options with this deck. Granted, it's all fire themed, and there are other better picks, great picks. This is just my deck. But you have tons of options with these monsters and including them within your ability use. So I do recommend these. If you feel that some of these monsters don't work for you, they're too high mana, too low mana, what have you, don't hesitate to change it. This isn't me playing your deck. This is you playing your deck. So make sure that you pick things that work for you and will help you. If something doesn't work, then you just might have to change out a card, change out an ability. It really depends on how you're doing it. So make sure that you think about this. This is just my flame deck recommendations. Though, I mean, it's essentially the same deck as my Flames Spore, except for I think I had Spored instead of Blitz Boys. But these are the monsters. These are why I picked the monsters, how you can use those monsters. So there's that part. Now we get into wild cards where we have to do it all the things over again to talk about it. So first off, I do recommend Astral Projection. I recommend it pretty much in every deck because it does help so much, though there are other abilities that can be more useful to you depending on your abilities and your playstyle. But Astral Rejuvenation is really good. Means you're going to be able to summon all of these folks a lot faster. You're going to be able to do a lot more fire damage, a lot more damage over time, a lot more area damage, all those things. You'll be able to do it quicker because you're getting more mana to be able to summon out your monsters. I also recommend cooldown reduction, especially given your abilities. So if we do slow burn, not only are your effects lasting longer, but the time between your effects is lower. So you're doubling up, kind of, not literally, but you're enhancing your utilization by increasing the number of times that you can utilize your abilities. It's really good for lowering the cooldown of your dashes, of your flame jump, of pulling out Singe. So it's really good. I highly recommend it. The last one, it really depends on you. You could do Spike Shield, but I don't feel like that would be great for her. Heroic fortitude might actually be better with having that little bit of extra health. That could mean the difference between you getting a kill and your extremely aggressive gameplay or dying. So that can really help you out, especially giving a little bit of a bump when you're doing your self heals. You'll have that little bit of buffer zone by having that additional health that either you were able to keep or that you're able to add into your health bar, because you're going into a heavy team fight. You need that health, and that 50 extra health is going to mean the difference between you winning and losing. So it's a really good pick. I would honestly pick it over Tranquil Shielding. Tranquil Shielding is more for out of combat, so it's more for your middle neutral or your backline defensive characters as opposed to your offensive characters. It can be really good for offensive abilities in the initial push, but I don't feel like it would serve Regna that well, because it's just an overshield that you gain when you're out of combat, and it takes 10 seconds to be out of combat. And that's when your healing starts. So it is good for defensive if you're like really brash or rash and quick to jump in, and you need that little mental buffer saying, okay, if I can stay alive for 10 seconds, I'll get the shield, and that'll give me time to be able to heal. So that could work out for you better if that's more your flavor. Just me personally, I recommend it on more defensive characters, but again, you want to build your deck to better help you play the game. Build it around the way that you play the character, the way that you play on the map, and the way that you play your monsters. All of these things are just my recommendations as far as the champions, the summons, and the wild cards. This may work for you. It may not work for you. It really depends on your playstyle and how you use the cards. This is just a general guide on how to do things. It's not the end all be all. There are going to be things in the future with game changes that will probably, I don't know, will probably mean that some of the things I'm saying are not correct anymore or were never correct to begin with. It really depends. But yeah, try building your cards around your character. Take a look at your character's abilities. How can you use those abilities when you're attacking and when you're defending? How can you use the monsters to help you? Can you use like Lump if you want to use and put Lump in there instead of Pyroki? You could do that. Then you have some more health regeneration, but you don't really need that because of your champion ability, where you do get self-healing and you can lower the cooldown between your self-healing, so you don't necessarily need a self-heal because you are focusing on that damage. If you're not super heavy damage, yeah, put in a Lump. Give yourself a security net so that when you're backing out and you're low health, you can throw one of these puppies down and then boom, you've got yourself a decent amount of health while you're running away. So don't just stick to my deck. Look at how you're playing and how you use your cards, how you use your abilities, because you want to tailor it to yourself. I also do recommend having varying decks, different decks with different monsters so that you can do different styles. Especially while this game is still in development, you're going to run across a bunch of people that you have played before and that you have played in the past. You're going to learn their play styles probably, or what monsters they typically send out. So by having several decks to pick from, you can change it up so that enemy players don't necessarily know what you're doing, especially if you want to get into the Wilds tournament, the tournaments in the future. You're going to want that because people are going to know who you are. They're going to know who they're up against. They're going to be like, okay, I know this person. They use these kinds of decks and they have this kind of style. They'll be able to try and counter you then with their picks. So have a variety of decks so you can change it up and not be a one-trick pony. But yeah, these are my tips, tricks, and other things for Ragna. I hope you did enjoy it. Outside of that, try things out. There are no mistakes that you can make. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer with picking your cards, picking your champion abilities, and even picking your wild cards. It's all a learning experience. You're not going to have the perfect deck from the very beginning. Things are constantly going to change, and you will need to change with them. So make sure that you are looking at the monsters and seeing how their abilities work. Not only how it's written, but how they actually are inside of the game. See how they act inside the game to get a better idea of how to better utilize them for your abilities. There's all kinds of things you can learn, all kinds of things you can try. There is no right answers. There are no wrong answers. There's just having fun, because at the end of the day, this is just a video game. This is meant for you to have entertainment, and it allows people that like making games and partially making money off video games the opportunity to be able to do that. For the people making this game, they get to come up with crazy ideas. They get to allow their ideas to come to life. They get to see if what they're dreaming of and how this will work can come to life. And then for you, it's about making sure that you get to enjoy it. Can you continue to enjoy the game? Can you continue to have variety happening to you? So definitely try out different things, try out different monsters, try out different styles with the abilities, try different attacking styles. Try doing a defensive Ragna. That would be kind of cool, and you just focus on keeping your core safe with area denial and walls of flames. And when the enemy team comes onto your side of the map, you're like, "Welcome to lands of hell with fire rain supreme," or something. I don't know. But yeah, again, this is my Ragna recommendations. You don't have to follow anything. I don't even recommend you follow probably half the things I say because probably half of them don't apply to you or your play style. It's about how you play and how you play aggressively or how you play defensively, how you build up your monsters, how you use the monsters' abilities to either defend or attack in conjunction with how you like to play. So if you like to play more backline and you want more ranged characters around you to keep you safe so you don't have to directly engage, you could do that. If you want to be all up in the fray, you could decide to have zero ranged characters and everybody just up in there just fighting and duking it out. So it's really about how you play the game, not necessarily the cards. The cards are there to help you and definitely do lane pushes and attacking the core, but they're also there to help you. They help you in completing the objective of defeating the enemy core. They help you push down the lanes. They help you defend. They help you defend yourself. They help you attack specific characters. So use them in conjunction with how you play and how you use your abilities. Outside that, I don't really have anything else. If you do see me in the game, I hope that we have a good match. If we don't, that sucks for both me and you because I want everyone to enjoy a game when they're playing a game because the whole point of playing a game is to enjoy the game. And if you're not enjoying the game, that's not really fun. Now, I will say there's a little bit of difference between losing versus not enjoying a game. Just because you lost doesn't mean you don't enjoy the game. There are an innumerable amount of times where I have enjoyed the fact that I have lost a game. And most of the time that makes me want to play the game more because I enjoyed myself while dying. But again, I hope that we have a good game. I hope that you can beat my butt. Several of you have already. More of you will. I welcome it. I want you to because it means that you are becoming better at the game. Even though I am not the greatest at this game, I will say I am mid-range decent. In the grand scheme of things, there are players that annoy me in the game, shady with some of their game-breaking tactics, or some of them who like to use game-breaking tactics and are actually really good players. House. I got something in my throat. So definitely have fun with this game. Have fun in the matches. For the times that you do lose, look at why you're losing during the match. Are some monsters dying really quickly for you? Are you throwing them in the fray when they should maybe be backline? Or are you not using them as like a stopgag to just slow down the enemy's monsters when you should? Just experiment things, change things up. Outside of that, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then please do like and subscribe. If you don't, I totally get that. I don't just subscribe to pretty much anything on YouTube. But if you do it, I will do a hands in the air, woot, woot, hoot, hoot, the roof is on fire kind of thing. Because I always like seeing it. Even when I see that somebody's watched a video, I love it. It's fun. I don't need 500 subscribers, even though I want it. I wish for it. It's more about just seeing the number, seeing that people watched it. My vanity. Feed my vanity. Not really. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out my other videos. I'm gonna do all kinds of different videos for all kinds of things, both wildcard and not wildcard. For example, I do play tests of all kinds of games that are in development because of my hobby. The thing I enjoy doing is just testing games. I love breaking games. I love finding broken things in games. I love gray box texture. If I see a level with just gray box, I'm just salivating. I'm ready to go. But I digress. Check out my other videos if you feel so inclined. Hopefully you enjoy them. If not, I get it. Not everything I make is entertaining, and not everything am I putting 100% effort into. It's more about me enjoying myself while doing it. Outside that, be safe, have fun, and until next time and every time, just be safe.